Chapter 1: Earth's Captivity. In the year 2285, Earth had fallen under the control of the Vati Imperium, a vast and ruthless alien empire. For centuries, the Vati had enslaved entire worlds, their conquests spanning across the galaxy like a dark web. They were tall, insectoid creatures with advanced bioengineered technology, capable of bending the natural laws of physics. Resistance was futile, or so they claimed. Humanity had fought back when the Vati first arrived, but their fleets were obliterated within days. Earth's cities were reduced to ashes by energy weapons that no human scientist could understand, and millions were forced into servitude. The Terran government had been dissolved, replaced by Vati overseers who ruled with an iron fist. Any sign of rebellion was met with swift and brutal retaliation. For decades, humanity toiled under alien rule. The Vati saw them as nothing more than laborious and a minor resource in their empire. But despite the crushing oppression, whispers of resistance began to spread. Humanity, though defeated, was not broken. Among those whispers, a name emerged: Captain Liam Carter, a former Earth military leader who had managed to escape capture during the initial invasion. Hidden in the wastelands, Carter had spent years gathering what was left of humanity's elite: scientists, engineers, soldiers, those who still dreamed of a free Earth. Together, they formed the nucleus of a rebellion that would soon shake the galaxy. Chapter 2: The Spark of Rebellion. Carter's base was buried deep in the mountains of what used to be the Rocky Range. The Vati believed Earth's spirit had been crushed, but they were wrong. Hidden away in these desolate lands were some of the brightest minds humanity had left. Dr. Elena Vargas, a genius physicist who had narrowly escaped the fall of Washington, D.C., was at the heart of their secret weapon, a project that would turn the Vati's own technology against them. One evening, the rebel leaders gathered in the underground bunker where Carter revealed their plan. "This is our last shot," Carter began, his voice calm but intense. "The Vati think we're broken, but they don't understand what makes us dangerous. They've never faced a species like us, one that adapts, learns, and never gives up." Dr. Vargas stepped forward. "We've spent years studying the Vati's technology, especially their warp gates. They use them to move entire fleets across star systems instantly, but what they don't realize is that these gates can be exploited. We've figured out how to hijack their network and send our own message, one that can disrupt their entire empire." The room was silent as everyone processed what this meant. The Vati's warp gate system was their lifeline, connecting their far-flung worlds. If humanity could hijack it, they wouldn't just be fighting back, they would be crippling the very infrastructure that held the Vati Imperium together. "How long do we have before they realize what we're up to?" asked Sarah Donovan, a former soldier and now Carter's second-in-command. "Not long," Vargas admitted. "Once we send the signal, they'll know. We'll have maybe a few hours before their forces are on us." Carter smiled grimly. "Then we hit them hard and fast. We're not just taking Earth back, we're sending a message to the galaxy." Chapter 3: The Attack Begins. It took months of preparation, but finally, the day arrived. The Resistance had coordinated attacks across multiple cities, targeting Vati strongholds. In the chaos, Carter's team infiltrated one of the largest Vati facilities, where the warp gate control systems were housed. Armed with stolen Vati weapons and their own improvised explosives, the team moved swiftly through the facility. The Vati, never expecting a coordinated attack, were caught off guard. Carter led the charge, taking down several overseers with precision shots from his plasma rifle. Vargas and her tech team worked furiously at the control terminals, uploading the virus that would take control of the entire warp gate network. It was a race against time. The Vati had already begun to respond, and reinforcements were arriving. "We've got about 5 minutes before their fleet hits us," Vargas said, her fingers flying over the controls. "We'll get one shot at this." Carter nodded. "Do it." With a final keystroke, the virus was activated. The warp gate system across the entire Vati Imperium began to malfunction, cutting off communications between their colonies. Their fleets, which relied on the gates for instant travel, were stranded across the galaxy. But that wasn't the worst of it. Vargas virus didn't just disrupt the gates, it turned them into weapons. Every active warp gate within the Vati Empire began overloading, creating massive energy surges. Planets that were home to the Vati's biggest military outposts were suddenly engulfed in explosions as the gates went critical, wiping out fleets and armies in a matter of minutes. Chapter 4: Turning the Tide. As the Vati Empire burned, Earth's resistance forces surged. With the Vati's coordination shattered, the human rebels launched attacks on all fronts. Occupied cities rose up, emboldened by the sudden chaos. For the first time in years, humanity had the upper hand. In the heart of New York, once the Vati's command center on Earth, Carter and his team fought their way to the Overseer's headquarters. The streets were filled with the sounds of plasma fire and the screams of alien soldiers falling to human guerrilla tactics. Carter himself stormed into the Overseer's throne room, where the Vati commander, a towering figure with gleaming armor, stood waiting. The alien's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "You think your rebellion means anything?" the Overseer growled. "We are eternal. We will rebuild, and we will crush you." Carter leveled his rifle at the alien, his expression hard. "You misunderstand us. Humans don't just fight for survival, we fight for freedom. And that's something you'll never understand." With a single shot, the Vati Overseer fell, and the last stronghold of alien power on Earth collapsed. Chapter 5: The Empire's Fall. The Vati Imperium never recovered from the attack on their warp gate network. Cut off from their colonies and crippled by the destruction of their fleets, their empire began to fragment. Other enslaved species, inspired by humanity's rebellion, rose up against their Vati oppressors. What had been a seemingly invincible empire was now in ruins, torn apart by the very systems that had once made it so powerful. On Earth, the celebrations were bittersweet. Humanity had won, but at a great cost. Millions had died during the occupation, and the planet itself was scarred from years of war. But they were free. And for the first time in decades, they could look to the stars with hope. Carter stood on the balcony of the newly restored Capitol building, watching the sun rise over the horizon. Donovan joined him, her arms crossed as she surveyed the rebuilding efforts below. "We did it," she said softly. "Against all odds?" Carter nodded. "This isn't the end, though. The galaxy's a dangerous place. But now they know, we're not to be underestimated."